Hello there, so here's the start of a project that I plan to turn this old baby Burco boiler into a malt pipe slash grain basket. Committing a little bit of a sin because it actually did work, but it's not the prettiest of boilers. It's got not an ideal switch on it, but I do have a similar one for my sparge tank that I could have, which is smaller, that I could have actually switched over the parts and had a big one for my sparge tank. But right now this one's future will be a malt pipe slash grain basket. I've already taken off the tap. Basically on these old ones they've got the old taps, so you have to get something to poke in there. You could use mold grips, but I had some square like drain plug sockets for oil sumps on cars. I poked that in there, held one side and then just turned the other side with a spanner. I just slotted on there, so I pulled that out. And on this one the handles actually just have two screws and then they completely come off, rather than being welded on like my other one that's a bit smaller. So I've unscrewed one handle and I'll unscrew the other, and then I'll start taking out the internals. Plan is I'll remove all the electrics, remove all this, remove the cable, the other handle, and then I'm going to cut down the bottom because it's a little bit too tall. I'm going to cut along here. I may bend over the metal to make some feet. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do yet. And then inside I'm going to cut around, remove this, and then the elements under that I'll remove that, and then I'll cut around there. And I've actually got some fine mesh and metal plate with lots of holes in it that I'm going to cut to size and put inside. So I'll take the handle off for now and then continue. So to remove the element, I'm going to start off, you have to undo the screws from these feet, or undo that, because that will need undoing at some point, and that I presume will pop out after, once I've undone what's inside. Remove this plate and I'll show you from there in a moment. So here's the inside of the electrics. So what I've got to do, I've got to undo this nut to remove the element, undo these cable connections, undo this nut on the outside to pull this bit off, and then that will come out. Undo that, and that will pop out. After popping all these cables off, I'll be able to slide through there. This bit is extremely shiny. It's probably the shiniest bit of the actual boiler. There is someone at some point in its life, had some paint, maybe from new, or maybe someone's put some on for some reason, I'm not sure. But I'll remove that by some means, either with a thinners or wire wool or something. I'll do something at a later stage. It's a shame this bit's so shiny because I'm going to cut this bit away. Right, so I'll get that removed. So here's the bare unit ready for modification. A bit lime scale, which I didn't clean off in this, but as I said, it will get cut. This whole bit will be gone and won't be needed. This is what it looks like. And bottom, and then the plan is I'm going to get a nut and a bung, or I already have. I'll put a nut and a bung to seal that up. I will cut along here so it's shorter, and where I have a bazooka in my all-in-one boiler, I need some clearance, so I'll cut like a U out of this so it can sit over it. And also where I'm only going to cut to here, it will sit off the element in the all-in-one boiler, so then hopefully I can get a pump and do recirculation where there'll be a bit of water underneath and the grain won't be sitting right on the bottom, so I could recirculate during my mash. And I've got some stainless steel metal rod that I will make some handles up to poke in there. Right, I did think about possibly keeping this, but I think I might just throw it away unless someone says, hey, I want that, before I throw it away. But it will probably get put in the bin because it's old and not that trustworthy, considering this temperature controller, that's what the live terminal to the Element looked like, and this is flapping around, so rather than me taking it off carefully, I'll just cut them. So I think I'll throw all this away. I might keep the tap perhaps, and the handles and these little feet. Plug could come in handy perhaps. That I'm sure I can think of something to do with it, so I'll come to that. So I'll try it in the all-in-one and see roughly what it looks like. So here's my all-in-one Buffalo boiler that I converted. Put this tap on. I ended up getting bigger washers than supplied with the tap, bigger metal washers, silicone washers, because all the little O-rings that were supplied weren't very good. Mine's got nice metal handles on it. It's an older model. It's actually supposed to be a 35 litre, but it holds about 37 litres, so I can do bigger brews if I wanted to. Inside, citric acid cleaned it up very, very nice. And you got my bazooka there. That's what I was saying. I'm going to have to cut out a bit on the malt pipe so it sits over that and sits just up here off. Up until now, I've been using this with a brew in the bag. I made this out of a it's like a sink drainer basket, and I basically cut the edges and then bent it over this, and it works really well. So I lift the bag out and rest the bag in that. It works really well, so I'm fairly happy with it, but I'll switch to the malt pipe. With the malt pipe, turns out pretty good. So let's see what it looks like fit in there. I'll just remove the bazooka so it can actually fit in all the way. Can't remember the exact measurements of these. I have done them prior, but there is a small gap between it. I'll just check what they are. So the malt pipe is, if I can do it, malt pipe's 35 centimeters, and actual mash tun is almost 40. So you've got about 2.5 either side. So you'd want a bit of space, but I'd obviously rather less, but you can't have everything perfect. So that's what it looks like in there. Obviously you can see it's clearly too high, but my lid does have a bit of space, so with my lid you can see I only really need to remove about 1.5 to 2 inches off of the malt pipe for it to fit. So this is the next step of the malt pipe / grain basket. What I've done is I've drawn a line around here as a guide for cutting. I actually marked it at 4 centimeters up and then put tape round to get a decent straight line in between each mark. Then drawed along the edge of the tape, moved the tape, and I'm going to use an angle grinder with a stainless steel cutting disc on it and cut it off, and hopefully it goes well. And there it is cut off. So it cut pretty well, pretty easy. Had to just hold the angle grinder carefully. There was burrs on this edge after I cut it, and I basically sanded them with a bit of sandpaper. Could have done with some emery cloth, would have been better, but I haven't actually got any here at home. And then I used just a knife, not a very good Stanley knife, just to like scrape the burrs off that had folded over and sanded it, and it's reasonably smooth. I might give it another sand with emery cloth at some point, but I'm going to put a rubber seal around this so it'll protect the boiler anyway, and there's a bit will come off. But we'll see how it fits in there, shall we? So it sits a little bit high, as I basically aimed for it to do, because basically this needs to be, the bottom needs to be at a certain height so the bazooka filter can fit underneath it. But also my lid has got a bit of height on it, so this lid, if my measurements are right, fits perfect. So the lid still fits perfect on all sides. So that's great. And there's almost virtually no rocking, so I got it pretty decent. But a couple things I still need to do is I need to cut a U-bit out of there so the bazooka filter can fit through. But I don't want to do that with the angle grinder. I might do it with the angle grinder, but I want to find a better tool. I'm going to think of something, see what I can get a hold of, and cut that. And I think right now I'll mark out where I want this circle bit cut out, the bottom bit, and I'll cut that out. And there's the bottom cut out. So cut this bit out, leaving a small lip round the edge. I need to take the burrs off still. So you've got a little lip, burrs on both sides I need to remove. I'll get something to clean this paint off or whatever it is. Clean that off. It's looking pretty good. So there we go, I'll clean the burrs off. And then the next step will be cutting that mesh to fit on there. Or not mesh, it's a metal plate with loads of little holes. So I've cut the perforated bottom sheet screen size. Pretty good. And then I've also cut that U-bit out of here that I needed to do so it can fit over the bazooka filter. I did use the angle grinder end. The blade's worn down rather small on it, but I had enough life left in it to cut up there and cut along there, and then I done that angles and then just sort of smoothed it off with an angle grinder cutting disc like on the edge. I've also put that on there to cap off the hole. See how it fits in there. There's the bazooka filter in there like that. And there we go. Grab the screen. Slot it down. There we go. All good. Not much left to do on it now. I need to fit a handle and some supports for when it's raised up to hold it up. and I'll go from there. So we're doing the next step on the malt pipe / grain basket build. What I've done is I've marked up, I'm going to put posts, 2 posts on here, so when it's in the boiler it can sit up like that. The Braumeisters only have 1 post, but their post is nearer the centre, so it won't rock, whereas if mine's going to be a bit higher, if I put 1 on, it would just slope to the side, so I'm going to put 2 on it so it's more supported. What I've done, so I've marked 2 points here with pen, and then I've just punched them with a little spike just so the drill lines up a bit better. I've measured them 15 centimetres up from the bottom and 9 centimetres apart is the width I've chosen. I've just drilled 2. I didn't actually have any drill bits, so I had some at work, but I didn't know if they'd be any good, so I bought some HSS drill bits and I've just drilled it with the 3mm bit, and it's gone through very nice. I mean, this isn't that thin, but stainless steel can cause some trouble, but the 3mm has gone through, and then I'm going to build it up to an 8mm, which is the size of my bolts. I've got these posts, that there'll be 2 of them fitted like that with bolts from the inside. If you want to know what drill bits I used, I got these ones from Screwfix, which is quite a big set, and I'm impressed so far with the 2 holes I've drilled. Alright, I'll drill the rest of the holes and then I'll keep going up in size, and then I'll show you the posts in position. So here's the holes all drilled. Ended up drilling really nice. Yeah, this was quite thin, so it was a bit delicate drilling it. This was moving a bit, but drilled through nice in the end. So 2 holes either side, and then I'll put these stainless steel bolts in from the inside and tighten up the post on it, and I'll show you in a moment. So there they are in position. And then low profile bolts just inside, take up not much room, so I can still get this in and out nice and easy. Right, so that's the malt pipe all finished. Built handle, stand, and then you've got the plate here. I've put this on so I can insert in and out. I cut a bit of mesh, but a roll of mesh that go on top. Put the posts on there so I can grab this nicely. Slot it in. Take it under like that. That will sit down nice once the grain's on it. Grab the handle. Drilled the holes bigger to make it easy to go in. So I slot one side in, and then the other side, like that. And we've got the groove cut out there so it sits over the Zook filter. And then when I want to get it out, use this stand. So the stand sits in like that. Sits over the edge there. Sits over there like that, and over there. And then as I pull it out, if I can show you, if I'm able to show in the video. Grab it like that. And then I'll turn it so the posts go on there. I'll straighten that up. If I had both hands free to do it, it would be a lot easier, but as you see, I just managed to do it with the one hand, but there isn't any grain in it at the moment, so sits on there nicely like that. Support there, goes round, other side like that. And then as they've got the handle like that, lower it back down again. Take this out. And remove the handle. Comes out. And lid fits lovely. And that's it, job done. I need to clean it up still. There's a bit of paint on the bottom of it that I needed to take off that I mentioned earlier on in the video. And then I'm going to get myself at one stage a pump, fit the pump to this, have a water inlet there and have it recirculating so I can recirculate the mash. And then where I've got the water coming out fitted into the fitting here for it to recirculate, when it comes to sparging, I'll just lift the malt pipe up, leave this on the top, and then I'll connect a hose from my sparge water tank straight on it and sparge straight in. So, job done. Fairly happy with it. I'll have to give it a test and make some beer with it soon. Thanks very much for watching. You've been watching Luke the Mad Hopper.